Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, presented by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us and everyone in the racing community. It's greatly appreciated, like we say every time. Mark, episode 180, man. How are you doing?
All right, man. Finishing up a week of vacation of camping just in time tomorrow to get home and catch some Thursday night thunder out at Kakana tomorrow night, man.
Oh, great timing. Good week to go camping too. So good to have you back out at the track tomorrow night already, which is, man, we only got 2 weeks left. That's crazy.
That's almost considered sad, dude. The season has gone so fast. Yeah, 2 to go, man. Weather looks good for tomorrow, so we'll make sure we'll get that one in. And then we'll hang on and see if we can do the fan appreciation one next week too.
Yep, for sure. Why don't we talk about last week at WIR real quick, and then we'll bring on our guest, Craig VandeWettering, who is the red, white, and blue state champion in the figure eights here. So last week with the Fox River Racing Club at Wisconsin International Raceway, Mason Kelmis took home the Wisconsin Sport Truck Race.
Yeah, he had to do, wasn't that close to a green-white checker, and he beat Brady Vanderloop and Kyle Qualla. They were all even at the end, man, and they strung out, and that's the way. Mason, yeah, because I was over by the popcorn stand. All of a sudden, I looked up, and there was Mason standing there, and all of a sudden, hey, dude, that was a good run. So, yeah, he was getting some protein after a hard run of the truck race out there.
And he was also the red, white, and blue state champion in the Wisconsin Sport Trucks there. He's missing football to compete in these last few races to compete for the championship. So checking off the first one was a big deal for him.
He's got his priorities straight, man. So that's all right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Justin Fickle won the Sizzlin' 4 feature. It was kind of an interesting dynamic there at the end. At first, we thought Jeremy Jarapata got disqualified. It comes out that he did not. So initially, we thought Jordan Fickle was going to be the red, white, and blue champion, but it turns out that Jeremy Jarapata did get that overturned, and he is the red, white, and blue state champion.
Yeah, well, we left. We heard that the 73 got pinched, but then you told me later that fell through. So, yeah, Justin Fickle, man, he's got that green machine flying around there, man. That's 2 weeks in a row win there. So congrats to him.
Yep. Mike Gilson won the super stock race and the red, white, and blue state championship as well, just like Mason Kelmis. Mike had a pretty good 3 races there. He's had a pretty good season out there as well.
He's had an excellent season in that number 2. Yep, for sure, man. He's been getting around there really well.
Alex Stumpf won the late model, pro late model race out there. And JJ Vanderloop was the pro late model red, white, and blue state champion.
No stopping that red Mustang, man. That thing is hooked up and fast, man. What does he have? 6 wins this year? So that's the guy to beat over there for the pro late models.
It is. Good to see this guy back in victory lane. Bobby Kendall, he won the blue race out there. And the red, white, and blue state champion would be Grant Griesbach, who's competing for, it seems, 6 or 7. I think it's actually 5 or so championships. So he checked his first one off the list as well.
Boy, Bobby Kendall, man, I guess that was a new motor. And, oh, boy, they got themselves a hot one. It took right off, man. And so that was pretty cool to see him win. Sawyer Efforts, man, made him honest, though. He was right on his bumper, but he just couldn't catch him in the last few laps, man. Good classic blue race right there for the 50-lapper.
It was, yeah, and congratulations to Grant Griesbach on taking home the red, white, and blue as well. His first of what he hopes to be a couple, at least. He's in the lead for the points for weekly for Fox River Racing Club with 2 weeks remaining, and he's in the lead for the Midwest Truck Series points as well. Slinger, he's at the top. So he's this can be a stressful time just going for one championship, let alone 4 or 5 of them.
What a super season, though, huh, man? She came out of the box hot, and he's been holding it all along this whole summer. So, yeah, we'll see if he can hang on and see how many championships he'll rack up here at the end of the season here.
Yeah. Figure eights, we just told you about it. Craig VandeWettering won the race and the red, white, and blue state championship. That is his 9th red, white, and blue state championship there.
Yeah, and he's on a roll too. He's won a few here on Thursday nights too. He's got that 49 just a cooking, man. So yeah, congrats to Craig there.
Yep. This week we got Pierce Manufacturing Night. They're this main sponsor out there for the Fox River Racing Club. It's also High Vis Night. So Wisconsin, this is a post from the Raceway, Wisconsin International Raceway. Wisconsin International Raceway is recognizing construction and trade workers this Thursday, August 21st. Construction and trade workers are vital to modern society, playing a crucial role in building and maintaining the infrastructure that underpins our daily lives. They are responsible for building homes, schools, and workplaces, as well as essential infrastructure like roads, bridges, and power grids. Their skills are also essential for maintaining and repairing existing structures and systems, ensuring the functionality of our homes, businesses, and public services. They deserve to be celebrated. I couldn't agree more with that statement. Adults wearing their own high visibility clothing will be eligible to win a $250 Fleet Farm gift card, and also the first 100 kids through the gate will receive a free high visibility shirt courtesy of Bolt Construction. So High Vis Night, wear your high visibility gear, be entered into that, and we got to thank the construction and trade workers out there because they're crucial to our society.
I'm a big kid, man, and I know I'm going to be out there early, man. So I hope that counts for me, man.
Yeah. Also tomorrow night, the first 100 kids also get a backpack filled with school supplies. Yes, we're talking about back to school already here. So that came up quick. So that's also a great idea by the Raceway and Club to get kids out there and families. So to help out with back to school.
Sounds great to me, man. So yeah, get them kiddies out there and get them out to the races before the school all starts up.
Yep. Tickets are $15. 12 and younger are free. Excuse me. Gates and concessions open at 5, qualifying at 5:40, and racing at 6:30. So come on out for Pierce Manufacturing Night, also High Vis Night, recognizing construction and trade workers, and also if you have a kid, get a backpack if you're the first 100. So a great night to come out and enjoy some more racing.
And it's going to be a beautiful night out there, man. So, yes, sir, we're winding up the season. So, yeah, we need the support to get everybody out there, man.
In addition to all that, we're also crowning a quarter-mile late model champion, which the point battle is pretty close. I thought Rick Spoo was further ahead than he is. He's 7 up on defending champion Tim Ballman there. So that point battle is going to be tough coming into the last night for them tomorrow night.
2 features for them. So, yeah, we'll see how that works out, man, with the invert of the second one. And we'll see where the chips fall, man. And should be a good one there.
Should be a good one. I couldn't agree more. Hey, man, I think it's time to bring on 9-time red, white, and blue state champion Craig VandeWettering.
To the hotline, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Craig, thanks for joining us on here, man. Hey, 9th red, white, and blue state championship out there. 8 in the figure eights, 1 in the super stocks when you were sharing the ride with Jesse Van Roy. What an accomplishment again this past week. You won the red, the white, and the blue to sweep this series, in fact. So what a week for you. How are you doing, man? Very good. I apologize. I just got done with work, so I was trying to rush back here so I didn't have to delay you guys.
Hey, that's a dirty word, man. Knock that off. You don't need to be doing that.
I know. Getting too old for that crap. No, unfortunately, that pays the racing bills, so we have to continue with that, unless I win the lottery. That would be too easy, though. Right, yeah. If only all of us could win the lottery, and then we could all buy race cars and have a blast, right? I'll tell you, if I ever won the lottery, the local racing scene would have a huge upgrade all the way across. I'd probably own all the tracks and
I'd help a lot of people and do a lot of things, but unfortunately, that's probably not in my cards. But it's okay; it's wishful thinking.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
dream. You could dream big. Yes, sir.
Well, hey man, we just talked about some of your success here. You won the red, the white, and the blue series races to sweep it and win that 9th championship. Kind of talk about this past red, white, and blue, and how you took home all 3 of those races in the figure eights.
It takes some luck. I'm not going to sit here and say I got the car really fast right now. It's been very dominant out there and stuff, but it does take some luck. I mean, one little flat tire, anything, motor blowing up, there's just so many things that can happen. And I'm very fortunate or blessed. I mean, the year kind of started off crazy, blowing a motor on the first night, and then second night leading the feature and the car shut off. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster at the beginning, but we got it figured out, and it's been very fast as of late. So
taking home 9 of these things, we talk about how prestigious the red, white, and blue state championship is every year. And you're on there 9 times. Like we talked about, 8 in the figure eights, 1 in that shared ride as super stocks. How do you explain how you're able to have that success under those extra added pressures of something as prestigious as the red, white, and blue?
One thing I always tell people is I guess if I was trying to help somebody that was new out, I always said, if you're going to, buy a part, for example, buy the better part. It might cost you a little more money, but the time you're leading a feature with 1 lap to go, that part's going to break because you cheaped out on it. And that was one thing I always told a lot of people. And then very rarely will you see my car have a mechanical breakdown, for example, because I go over my stuff with a fine-tooth comb. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I have the same drive as I did before I won my first ever championship, because I'd be lying. The first one's always the most important and stuff, but you really got to dedicate yourself, I should say, nowadays, because every year the cars get faster, and that's in every class. Racing's becoming like a full-time job, and I don't care, down to the 4 cylinders to the super late models, up even higher levels. It's crazy, and the cars evolve. I think you guys can agree with that, just with super lates, for example, how fast the times are always. And I know that is a different story than what I'm running, but kind of the same theme. You still got to put in, I always felt, you get out of stuff what you put into it. And if you are going to let your car sit on the trailer all week, then that's probably the results you're going to have. But if you're going to really try hard and dedicate yourself, and of course, again, it takes a little luck. You could be the best driver in the world, and you still got to have some luck. But I do feel like, again, you get out of stuff what you put into it. I've always felt that way about anything in my life.
Hey, man, you've been around this for a long time. Where did it all start, man? What made you become a race car driver?
Growing up in that Gracie family, Stan the man put that itch in all of us. And I learned a lot of stuff from Stan. I've learned a lot of stuff from my uncle Danny Gracielny, my stepdad Chris LaRock, who was also very successful. Jesse Van Roy, Randy Van Roy and Terry Van Roy were very influential on my career. Unfortunately, the bad part about growing up in a racing family is sometimes when you're competing against them, they just tell you enough information to get in trouble. Randy Van Roy, for example, at one time was when he wasn't racing anymore, and he was kind of, before me and Jesse started team driving, when he quit racing late models, he was kind of helping me out a little bit. And Terry Van Roy actually said to Randy, he goes, "You got to stop helping Craig. He's getting super fast." So Randy was a big thing. But again, I've learned a lot of stuff from all my relatives, and, just a little bit at a time. And a lot of things too were self-taught, because like I said, growing up in a racing family, they'd only tell you enough to get you in trouble. And then you kind of had to grab the bull by the horns from there and go for whatever, and I remember going back to 16, 17, 15, whatever. I used to read all the hot rod magazines and all the circle track, and I would rip motors apart. And back then, of course, internet wasn't prevalent. You really had to kind of maybe go to the library and read books and magazines and things like that. Nowadays, it's a little easier. The kids got all the information out with YouTube and things like that. But granted, I'm not that old, but as Lauren, I mean, you can agree, like when we were younger, it was a little bit different. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm just saying, like when I'm 41, I just turned 41, but it was a little bit different era, and people weren't always prone to giving out their secrets. You had to learn a lot of that stuff the hard way.
Yeah, I'm in my mid 30s, and I agree. We were kind of the last family to have like a computer, internet on the block, and it was kind of becoming prevalent as I get into like late elementary, middle school, but it still wasn't as accessible as it is today, which is kind of interesting where you're kind of growing up in the old school side of things and then kind of transitioning into new and kind of learning that way. But I want to take kind of where you started a little further there. Did you have any other hobbies growing up? Was it like, nope, I'm in a racing family, I want to do racing? And then what was the first vehicle that you hopped in and started racing?
Well, a little thing a lot of people don't know is I was racing horses before I was racing cars. My grandpa Jim, on my dad's side of the family, he had got me into racing horses when I was like 4 years old. So I raced horses all the way up until I was about 16. And then girls and cars kind of got in the way of that. And, I started racing at Chilton. I drug my first car home. It was a Pro 4 dirt late model. Now, these things were half the size of a dirt late model. And they had half the motor, but they were half as light. So these cars really went. Matter of fact, around Chilton at that time, the only faster cars were the sprint cars. So these little things for 4 cylinders pounded out a lot of horsepower. I found this car back behind Sunshine Auto in Menasha there, and it was sitting out in the weeds. And it was actually, you remember Mark Truckee at all? He raced Super Stock for a little while. So
Number
me and Mark
22.
Truckee was a good friend of mine. Yeah, number 22. We went behind there, grabbed the car, and I brought it back to my parents' house. And I was underage, and my mom's like, no way. Like, there's 4 flat tires and all this stuff. It looked like a total jalopy. And she's like, and now my parents are split up, and Mom goes, I'm not signing that release form for you to race. And I said, well, if you don't want to sign it, I'm going to bring it over to Dad's, and I'm going to have him sign it. And because I don't blame my mom. She was at the track all the time, 4 or 5 nights a week with Stan back when she was younger. And she just, as much as my mom likes racing, I mean, she just got tired out of it. And I think, some people just think it's a waste of money and things like that. I'm not saying that about her. I just think she was trying to save me maybe from the bug that she already knew was going to inflict me. But anyways, I drug it home. Mom did end up signing those release papers, went out there, and I won the 3rd feature out actually at Chilton. And then 2 weeks later, I won another one. And the rest is kind of history. I mean, I really didn't have a clue what we were doing and not really sure how we got by sometimes. I did have, like I said, some family helping and things, but I really, honestly, I'd be lying to you if we really had success from day one. I really don't know what it's like to not, and I shouldn't. I don't mean that in a conceited kind of way. It's just I've always really had a drive to, like I felt like even if I set somebody's car up the same way I set mine up, and I helped a lot of my friends, I drive with so much heart when I race. I race so hard, and I race with my heart on my sleeve. And I think it's hard to, like, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Like, I feel like you can't teach that kind of passion. And that's a big thing. Now, mind you, as the days go on, now equipment makes a big difference, and you got to have a good car. But you still got to have a lot of heart to race. And I truly think, like, when I feel like sometimes when I'm out there, nobody's trying harder than me. I race so hard, like every time it's going to be my last time. And I think that's a big thing. Like I said, that you can't teach somebody. You can set their car up, you can give them all the advice in the world, but you still got to have that drive, and that killer instinct is a big thing. If, like, when I get in second place and I see that if somebody's in first and I know I'm faster than them, I'm not going to give them the race. They're going to have to earn it, and they're going to really have to try extremely hard and to hold me off. And I'm not going to do them dirty, or by all means try not to, but I'm going to give them everything they can handle, because that's just the way I race. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be my last. So I really race with a ton of heart. I can't stress that enough.
So where did you go after Pro 4 at Chilton there? What was the next step for you?
So we had a good year. After that, unfortunately, the class got canceled. And Mark Truckee actually bought a car for me. I was working for my Uncle Danny and only part-time. I really wasn't making a lot of money. I could not afford to race. Some of my good sponsors back then, Mary Dahl was one of them. Eric Dahl, who used to kind of pit for my stepdad, Chris, and Danny and stuff. His mom did a lot for me when I was younger. She kind of, helped pay some pit passes and some fuel in the car, some tires. And without her, I couldn't have ran. So that was very cool. But anyways, Mark Truckee had bought this car, and he said, I want you to drive it the next year. And it was actually a better car than what I had, allegedly. But we never came to fruition. They canceled the class, and it was kind of bad because Mark actually was going to race a car. I was going to race a car, and one of my other buddies, we kind of had it like we'd all go out and have fun. And so then 2002, I took off after that because, again, no racing. 2003 was the very first year. Again, if you go back in the archives at WIR, they only show 2004, but 2003 was actually the very first year. I won 14 out of 16 races in that one. And I did technically win the red, white, and blue back then too, but, we're not counting that, I guess, per se. But then in 2004, 2005, 2006, I took off. I was starting my business and stuff. And, I didn't start my business till like late 2005, but I took a couple of years off working at Pierce Manufacturing and things like that. And I just didn't have the money to race, so I didn't race. Back to that lottery thing we're talking about. But then 2007, I didn't plan on racing either, and that's when Danny Gracione hit Kenny Van Wyken in the X. And I got to run that night. And I know you guys kind of discussed that on Danny's podcast, so I'm not going to go into all the details about that, but basically said, you're not going to stop, or you're going to wear a pink dress. And I said, I'm not going to stop. And Danny laughed. And I mean, so many people thought it was Danny in the car. It was crazy that night. And then I ran the EVA Destruction after that. I ended up buying that car from Danny. But then I hit Jared Boffman in the EVA Destruction, totaled that car out. So then 2008, I did not race at all. 2009, Danny had this other car. Randy Krieger was driving it for a while. It used to be one of Tim Richter's old cars. And I got my first figure 8 win in that car. It had a bone stock 350 in it. You'd be maxed out by the time you got to the X. But it handled like a dream. I mean, I could not believe it. It had like little, had your normal shocks on it, but it also had like these motorcycle shocks on it in the rear. It was really weird, but the car handled amazing. I was actually hanging out with Tim Richter last week at Seymour, and that guy builds a good figure eight car, man. He's been around a long time. And Mark, you probably know him from Slinger. He has a lot of championships out there, and just very smart. My old red car I used to drive in figure eight came from Randy Ron, but Tim Richter had a hand in that too, and he builds one hell of a figure eight car. And so is Willie Van Camp's car that he sold to Joe Muniz. That was from Tim Richter also. But,
I remember Tim Richter in the No Sense Sizzling 4 because he was racing some Sizzling 4 stuff there for a while. But anyway, yeah, continue.
No, so then I kind of got my feet wet in figure eight, and then 2010 was when I bought Corey Mander's old Super Stock, and that's kind of, it came down to me, Gracie, and Jeff Woolrobbie for the points that year. And it was a deal where I had to win, but Danny had to get third. And I did win, but Danny ended up getting second. So I lost the points that year by, I think, 5 points, if I remember correctly. And then 11, Mike Meyerhofer had a really stout year that year. He was on fire. And I couldn't keep a motor together that year. I was running a lot of old tired motors. So then I built a brand new one for 2012, and that kind of started that streak we were on for a while. I actually, like when I got that red car in 11, me and Matt Bauer, that races at Kaukauna, we took that track, my red car, my old one, out to practice like every Tuesday, and we were just working on stuff all the time, and we knew the car was real fast. We just couldn't keep a motor together. And finally in 12, when we kept that motor together, that's kind of, like I said, what started the dominant streak. And you know, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't know where the streak would have ended, you know, because 13 we only ran half the season, and I think I got like fourth in points. We won 7 out of 8 races, I think, in 2013, and I only ran half the season. So it, not taking anything away from Jared Boffman at that time in that year, but he would have had his hands full because we were very dominant. And then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, of course, I quit. I was, you know, or just had to take some time off because sometimes it's very hard. You get to a point where sometimes people don't understand what goes into racing and how much time and effort it takes. And sometimes I would go down to the track and take, let's say, 4th place. And let's just say you started 12th. Well, there's only, you know, a handful of laps in that figure 8 race. So it used to be, for a while they were doing 10 laps, and then sometimes it was 15. And then, of course, when Jeff passed, we made it 13. And sometimes people would be like, what happened tonight? You only got 4th place. And it's like, well, I started 12th. I mean, I think that's pretty respectable that I moved up 8 spots in, let's say, 15 laps. But sometimes average fans don't understand that. And the hard part is sometimes you just, you have a real high level to maintain, you know, when people just go out there and expect you to win all the time. And it's just, that's not the realistic part of racing. There's some nights your car's not going to be the fastest one on the track, and sometimes you may be, but you can't get through traffic. And I'm very, you know, humble in that regard. I'm just saying sometimes you only got a 5th place car, and maybe that's all you can do. Or maybe sometimes you got 3rd, but you really drove your butt off and you did good. But again, people come down there and they just, what happened tonight? What was wrong with you? What was wrong with the car? Why did you get 4th or 5th or 6th? And I just had to take a little time off from that. And just kind of, then of course, Willie Van Camp said, hey, I want you to run my car. And I had a lot of fun running with Willie, with Slinger, and Kakana, and then of course we were doing our outlaw thing for a while, and yeah, we can talk about that too, whatever you want. But whatever questions, you're the interviewer here. I'm just the answeree, I guess you want to say.
Yeah, go ahead with that. Carry on. We're on a quarter mile there.
Well, I should rewind. I mean, with Jesse's stuff, I had a lot of fun with Jesse Van Roy too. We came so darn close to a championship in that, and the rear end broke on the last night coming around to get the white flag. That was a heartbreaker. I really, really wanted that championship for Jesse. George Schwalbach ended up winning, which George is a great guy. Nothing bad to say about George. He always runs you super clean. When it goes to the outlaw stuff, we kind of got we're a lower budget team, but we did really good. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say. We had a lot of success, and one of the highlights of my career was when we won at Painesville, Ohio, and unfortunately, we were a little short crewed. I didn't even expect the car to make it out there. I was supposed to race for another guy, and we put the car together 2:30 in the morning, finished it up, and I literally went home, me and my girlfriend Kenlyn, we showered and hit the road. And to go out there and win Painesville, Ohio, that big Buckeye National, that was incredible. Because it was completely unexpected. Held a lot of big names off, and again, we're just a smaller budget team. We don't have big sponsors. I think if we really had a big sponsor in something like that, some of those guys would have had a lot to worry about. But again, just for the little bit of times we ran a couple, what we could afford to run, because people don't realize it was big money to go travel and run these events and things. And I'm a little sad I can't run the 3 hour this year, because ran the last 4 of them out there, but we will be running Neva Destruction, so that'll kind of make up for it.
Yeah, I want to clarify something there. So you started going into the outlaw stuff. So you get out of the Fox River Racing Club scene, racing weekly, and you get into this outlaw figure 8 class, which I'll tell you what, if anyone's seen the videos of these endurance races or enduro races, figure 8 style, wild. You score that big win, and I want to talk about that. But what led you into getting into that class to begin with?
So I didn't even have a clue this existed. I think it was around 2016-ish. Me and Craig Krieger were just bullshitting before the race, and he goes, "You got to see this." And he showed me a video, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Again, never thought I'd be able to ever afford running that. And as the years went on, I said I need to take some time off and from WIR and just do some stuff. And now, mind you, I ran some dirt. I had a dirt street stock for a while. I was kind of running when I wanted to run, and sometimes that's the most fun because you don't have to worry about points racing. You don't have to worry about nothing. If something breaks on the car, you're like, well, big deal. I'll fix it and come back and get them next week. Sometimes I do feel like the points, when you're points racing, it can throw a little bit of a damper and stuff. But with the outlaw, I kind of stumbled across it on accident. I happened to change my Facebook marketplace to Indianapolis, and I just searched outlaw figure 8 car, and this car come up. And long story short, it was within something I could afford, and I was down there that weekend. And then I bought that car, was planned on racing it like that. Instead, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I like to get a little carried away. Me and Matt Bauer and a couple other guys ripped that car down to nothing in his garage and started fixing it, rebuilt the whole thing. The car's actually sitting in my garage right now as we speak. It's like a garage queen. It's never even been raced. It's perfect. But I planned on racing that car, and then Artie Ware, who was one of the outlaw figure eight drivers at the time, he listed this car for sale. Well, I got on the phone with Artie, and the rest is kind of history. I went down there, picked up Artie's car, and an hour and a half later after buying that car, I was strapped in for my first ever outlaw race in Clarksville, Jeffersonville, Indiana. It's pretty much on the border of Kentucky and Indiana. So here we are. I'm shitting bricks. I'm thinking, I always get nervous before every race, and I don't know why. I think it's just more of a competitive nervous, maybe not, or maybe you don't know how stuff's always going to turn out. That's probably, it's the only way I could explain it. I'm sitting there and I'm like, did I really get myself into this? Yes, I did, but we're going to try our best just to maybe not take last. And I actually got 8th that time. It was pretty cool. And then those guys couldn't believe how good we were doing, and just kind of, like I said, I consider that whole outlaw program a success. We really did well. Even last year, we qualified 9th for that big 3-hour race. I found out some stuff after the race. I'm not really going to go into details on a lot of that, but put it this way, for what we had to work with and what we did, it was pretty incredible. And I remember Mark Tunney saying, he goes, man, it's crazy how you show up and just run these cars. Like, these need to be like a well-oiled machine. You got to be one with the car. He goes, I took half a year off one time and I couldn't get out of my own way. He goes, I feel like I sucked. He goes, you just show up and just pick right up where you left off. And I said, I don't know. I always felt, like I said, I just feel like I was put on this earth to drive a car. I don't know what it is. When I get behind the wheel, I zone everything out. I don't think of nothing other than if you're in first place, that's what I'm after.
Let's talk about that big win. That was in July of 2023. You won the Buckeye Nationals figure eight race. You talked about how they're big paying races and all that. It was $5,000 to win. A lot of times we don't even see that in super late model racing, especially weekly. We don't. What a huge, huge win for you and your team.
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be more. We settled on 5,000, plus there was contingencies in there, from gift cards to etc., cash prizes, and I took more home than that, but that's kind of irrelevant. But it was supposed to be more. Randy, the track owner, great guy, super guy. He just was trying to get a race there, and it was one of those deals where we worked a deal out and took a lower cut to get it in there and put a good show on, because all the fans down there are fantastic. They just look forward to that like crazy, and they would have been really disappointed if we didn't have a race. I had so many people 24 we planned on running, and they had to cancel. It was just weather related and stuff like that. I believe it rained or whatever, and the forecast wasn't looking good. But the fans down there, they just go crazy for them Outlaws. And I had talked even with Danny VandeWettering of running the Outlaws up here, because I really think we would have a good show. We could do like the regular figure eights and the outlaw figure eights, maybe the super lates, and we could, some other stuff. We could pack the stands, and I wouldn't rule that out. I mean, it could potentially happen. I just feel like our figure eight track might have to widen out a little bit, because it might be kind of a one-lane show. And again, but I wouldn't, in the next couple of years, I wouldn't rule it out. I keep in contact with all those guys, even though I did sell my T8 chassis I had, and I just thought, well, I'm going to get back in the local racing, kind of scratch that itch a little bit. And that's when Danny hit me up and said, hey, I think we should team drive this year. And Danny will be in the car this Thursday, by the way. And Danny was supposed to be in a couple other times. We just had some unfortunate rainouts. So I know it looks like I got the lion's share of everything, but it really wasn't supposed to be that way. But when Danny asked me, I couldn't pass it up. I mean, I've always looked up to Danny, and the guys like Danny and Terry, I think they're the king of figure eights. You know, I think no matter what, I'll always look up to them. No matter even if I ever did surpass their championships or not, none of that matters to me. I just feel like you always got to have something to look up to make yourself better. And but going back to the race in Paynesville, it was just incredible. Like I said, I completely unexpected because we weren't even supposed to make that race. It was really last minute and drove all through the night. I can't even tell you how tired I was. But when we won that race, I mean, everything went away. The only downfall was we really didn't get to celebrate too much because there was a lot of rain and stuff. And they kind of halted, people coming in the stand or the pits rather. We did celebrate at IHOP afterwards, though. We took our cooler in there, and it was like all of us outlaws, like the whole class, and we took the cooler in there full of beer, and they wanted to kick us out. And we're like, well, you're going to lose, a lot of business here. So either you got let us go or not. And they said, that's fine. You guys can stay. Just kind of keep it on the down low, which we did.
Well, you're from Wisconsin, man, so you had to show your colors, right?
Oh, yeah. When we go down south, we don't mess around. We show them guys where the drinkers are.
Hey, speaking of Wisconsin, you were, I think I have this right. You're the only Wisconsin driver to ever compete in that series. Is that accurate?
Allegedly, I heard there was one other guy at one other time. I don't know his name. That's just what somebody thought. I believe I'm the only one. I know for sure I'm the only one to ever win a class in that, or to win a race in that series, I should say. But I, again, heard like a long time ago there was somebody else in there, but I don't know. That's just, it's kind of, I heard that from one person and the rest of the people said, no, you were the first one. So again, I don't really know for sure, but that's just what I was told.
And explain more, for the mechanical people that watch this, what is an outlaw late model figure eight? Because they look spectacular, but I want to know more of the ins and outs of them as well.
So no motor rules, no transmission rules, no rear end rules, no drivetrain rule, like any shocks you can run. Some of those guys can adjust the shocks from the cockpit of the car. Really extremely high dollar. I didn't have none of that. You can run traction control. I did not put that in my car. I will never run with traction control in my entire life. That to me, that again, I don't want to be, mean. To me, that's not racing. There's just no outlaw or no rules. It's a true outlaw class. So anything goes and it's run what you brung. The only thing they did not allow was whatever the tire series was, you had to run that tire, and you could not run like nitrous. Other than that, anything went. And you had to be a certain weight. Like we had to weigh 2350 with me in the car at the 3 hour. And the other races were 2450. So super lightweight cars, and anywhere from, 600 horsepower on up. If you had a smaller track or running smaller tires, you would run a smaller motor because you'll burn the tires right off the car with a 900 horse motor. But when you got on the big meets and bigger track, sky's the limit. I had one motor that was 600 horse. I had one that was like about 710 horse, and I had one that was almost 900 horse. So it all depended where we were going. And also I would deviate from my 2-barrel to my 4-barrel carb to kind of help hook up with the tires, because I was very familiar with running a 2-barrel carb from racing around here. So a lot of times, I did really good with them 2-barrels on and smaller tracks and the smaller tires. That's what I would choose. Or like last year with the 3-hour, that's kind of what we chose to go with. And sometimes, with the 2-barrels on, you get a little more torque coming out of the corners, but you'll lose the horsepower down the straightaways until the 4-barrels would kick in. And it's all a preference, but I can attribute some of my success to racing around here to even the Outlaws, because some of the tracks were eerily similar to either WIR or Slinger with the figure 8s. And the one thing I can say, though, is I had to throw some of my bad habits out the window from driving like street stock style figure 8 cars to the Outlaws. Totally different ball game. Those you can't really like trail brake as much and things like that, because some of them you want to do more of your braking in a straight line. Like when I'm running the outside, for example, at WIR, I use the brake a lot to set the car. Like some people think you're all on the gas all the time, but I'm really working the brake and the gas to kind of set the car, or using certain angles. It's hard to really explain. You'd have to watch somebody's footwork, but anybody that drives dirt or asphalt knows what I'm talking about. You'll watch those dirt late model guys, and on their feet are constantly working the gas and the brake, and that's a big thing. A lot of people that they just think that racing is all about coming into the corner as fast as you can and hitting the brakes a little bit to slow the car down, and then you're back on the gas again. It's not. It's about being very smooth and trying to keep the tires underneath you and gripping, because if the tires are spinning, you're really not moving forward. So I think that kind of makes sense to the average, Joe watching this show. The racers will understand what I'm talking about, but that's the difference with the Outlaws. They were, again, a true outlaw class. You run what you brung. And that's why you're not going to out money anybody in that game. You're probably not going to know more than a lot of the people. Like some of those guys got NASCAR guys, or or relatives, or certain things that a lot of people would send their stuff down to North Carolina to get done. Like you had the best in the business there, and those drivers I ran against were the best in the world. Every one of them was a champion or multiple time champion from somewhere, and those guys can all drive. And when you really run with a lot of figure 8 cars, you really truly respect. You learn those guys respect each other because they don't want to wreck, $100,000+ figure 8 cars. But on top of it, you're running with 28 to 40 cars sometimes, and you got to learn how to navigate through that traffic. And sometimes you really don't know. Your butthole puckers up a little bit when you're coming through the wreck. A lot of time, what I learned in that class was watching people's nose of the car, because it helps when you run against the same people. If their nose would say go up, I knew they were going. If their nose would kind of dive a little bit, they were going to give me maybe let me go or whatever. But I can't tell you after any of those races, but especially the 3-hour, I thought I was prepared for that, and it's insane. I mean, my neck was just on a swivel, and it emotionally, mentally, physically, every type of drained you can be. My crew actually had to pick me out of the car when I was that first time. And then as time goes on, you start to condition yourself for it. Like I might have to run laps around my court and work out and stuff. Like you really have to treat it like a sport as such, and really condition yourself. And maybe, okay, well, now I'm going to lay off on the soda. I'm only going to drink water, and etc. You got to really treat it like a true profession, because it really is. It ain't a joke at that level. You really got to be prepared. And I know the NASCAR drivers, same thing. But I'm just trying to shed a little insight on what it, just to inform people on what it takes to run at that level. There's a lot to it, and I could go on for days and days, but I know we're kind of limited on time. So.
Hey, you got the Eva Destruction coming up here in a few weeks, man. That's a big deal for you guys out there too, ain't it?
Yeah, awesome. I'm happy to be back. I could not run for the last, I think, 6 years because of the 3 hour. But yeah, it's going to be great to be back. Getting a bus, that'll be fun. I guarantee there's probably going to be an exit, so that'll be exciting. I don't know who's going to be involved, but there will be. I don't ever go out to win the bus race. I really want to put on a good show for the fans. To me, that's really important. I don't go out to win, like the trailer race or the bus race. If I'm there at the end, that's good. But I really want to. There's nothing like having 13, 15,000 fans when you can just hear it from one side of the venue to the next, all the way to the end. It's just a great time, and I really get amped up for that. And I miss that. I mean, it's been, I don't know, 5-6 years or whatever since I ran it, but really looking forward to that. And I think we'll be able to hopefully carry a little bit of our luck over to that.
Yeah, I have announced the Eva Destruction the last 3 or 4 years now, and man, what an event that is. You just mentioned a few of them. The trailer race is a favorite, the bus figure eight. You got the football. Man, the last few years that's really gotten wild with the propane, the humongous propane tank out there. That's gotten wild.
When I used to run it, I mean, it's crazy. So
I thought that thing was going through the back windshield of a van or something over the last few years. It was every year it just gets more and more crazy. You think you see it all, and then nope, you realize every year there's something different.
Yeah, I mean, actually. Yeah, some of that demo football can get crazy. I had it one time where I was up on the propane tank. My car was kind of like at a 45-degree angle, and Jeff O'Robbie, I believe, was he hit me at the time and flipped my car over, and it was nuts. I mean, I remember my helmet. I had scrapes in my helmet from scrubbing off that asphalt, and you want to talk about your life flash before your eyes. That's a crazy experience. So, yeah, anything can happen with those for sure. But again, it's just always great. And I can't wait to be back. I'm to the point. It's get the season over with. Let's just get through all this and let's get to the eve and put on a show, because I really, I do appreciate that with all the kids, and I just look forward to it. I actually got to go pick up my bus yet, because I'm hoping we got some time here where we can kind of do a little something special for the bus race. I really always enjoyed decorating the buses. To me, that was one of my favorite parts. So I'm hoping I can get some time here in the next couple of weeks. I'm just really busy with my shop and stuff too. And hopefully we can, like I said, scrounge up some time to do something cool with the bus.
I want to ask you, kind of going back into the Outlaw figure eight. Do you ever see yourself getting back in that? You said you had that car sitting at your shop, which is in pristine condition, never been raced. But do you ever see yourself getting back to that level, or is it more focusing back on the short track level here for the near future?
I don't know. I might get into dirt racing, honestly. Again, I really always loved running dirt, and I had a lot of success on dirt too. I know I'm kind of labeled as a asphalt guy, but again, I did run a lot of different things on dirt, whether it be the mini sprints to street stocks to 4-cylinders to them Pro 4s, like I was talking, like the mini dirt late models back in the day, and had a lot of success in all that. I really wouldn't mind running a sport mod, and I think like a couple of my other buddies had talked about it, Tim Springstrode being one of them. He wants to sell his car maybe and get a sport mod, and my cousin Jordan Gracie only races sport mod, and maybe go grind on him a little bit. But then there's Danny running street stocks, and I don't know. Stock car is kind of appealing to me too because it's such a competitive class. All them dirt classes are. I guess they're all competitive. I shouldn't really say. I mean, they're all, again, good drivers, good competitive nature. So, but then that's a whole nother level too of, now you're on different from asphalt. You're cleaning the car every week and you're grinding tires, siping them, etc. And that's a whole nother program in itself too. So a guy's just gotta have time. I am putting on a shop edition right now. That's gonna, sometimes I gotta butter my bread with my business stuff first, and I guess I'll just have to play it by ear after this year. I wouldn't rule out the Outlaws though at all. The biggest thing I guess would be is if I wish I could find a local sponsor that wanted to kind of, I know that's everybody's goal, but I would like to find a Wisconsin-based company that would really like to, team up. And I think we really could have run more classes and really give them a really big threat more if we had a little more money to bring to the table, because it's hard. Like I said, I'm a self-funded guy. I don't have any handouts, or I've raced out of my own pocket my entire life. I don't want to down some of these people, but I don't have mom and dad's money, or I don't have people. I have some sponsors kicking in some money here or there, but sometimes like people would sponsor just enough money for me to put their name on the car. That's just the type of guy I am. I don't have any huge sponsors and things. So again, I was running them out of my back pocket for a lot of it, and sometimes nowadays it's not even always about who's the better driver. Sometimes guys got better equipment, and that's just the realm of the way the racing's going. I don't like it in that regard, but that's just the sad, harsh truth of it. And I told that to a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, owner of Bedliner Specialist there. Talk about your business and what you provide to people.
So we do a lot of spray-on bedliners and trucks, rust proofing and undercoating. We're very well known with that stuff. We do a complete line of vehicle accessories and like paint protection packages. As far as accessories, like tonneau covers on trucks and step bars, bug shields, mud flaps, floor mats, you name it, we can hook you up and save you a lot of money, over some other companies around here. Been doing this for 21 years, so we're very knowledgeable, and I try to do the best we can and provide a good service to everybody.
Yeah, I've been curious about your business, so it's good to know more about that as well. Hey, man, you're looking up at another championship. Danny's in the car next Thursday, or coming up tomorrow, you said. Are you finishing the season to try to cap off another one here?
I will be in the car the last night, I believe. Danny could run it if he wants to, but that was kind of the talks, is I was going to run the blue race, and then Danny was going to run this week, and then I think I'll be back in the final wrap round, and then of course I'll be running the Eva Destruction. I don't know if Danny or Jordan is going to run the pink car in the Eva Destruction, but I would not be surprised to see the pink car out there. Dan and Ginger were awesome this year. We were hoping for a little bit of a pay increase, and they stepped up to the plate. And Eamon also, he was the one kind of in the middle of everything, and we're all very excited, us as a whole, because the Eva Destruction pay has kind of been the same for a while, and we kind of wanted to step it up because it does take a lot of time, effort, money for us drivers. And again, can't thank Dan and Ginger enough. I'm really glad they stepped up to the plate and they gave us everything we were asking for. So I have nothing but good things to say there. And again, looking forward to the eve.
Well, man, I think we'll end it here. We'll have to have a part 2, part 3, part 4 sometime in the near future. But yeah, man, congratulations on another red, white, and blue. looking good for Thursday nights there. Got a pretty healthy lead there too. So maybe a 7th championship in weekly points out at Wisconsin International Raceway. So it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the years, kind of grown up together a little bit as your success and meeting you down in Victory Lane. You've always been great to us, great to me down there. So I appreciate you, man. It's been really cool to see your success. You are a driver who picked it up really quickly, like you've mentioned, and has had so much success. I can't wait to see where the future holds, and just appreciate it, man. Hope you have a good couple weeks here, and we see you at the end on the final night for another championship. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate both of you taking all the time. And once again, I want to thank all the fans that are watching this too. Without you guys, we couldn't do it. So again, we'll end on that. But thank both of you and have a good night.
All right, man. Good luck tomorrow night, man. We'll run up with you later.
All right. Sounds good, gentlemen. Take care.
Take care. Well, Mark, it was great to have Craig on. You know, a successful driver, pick it up really, really easily and really quickly. You don't see that a whole lot. I would put him against the best of the best, especially in the figure 8 class. That's probably pretty obvious. Street stocks, I would say, even if he could get into the upper levels there, he would be one to be reckoned with too. Just an incredible racer.
He doesn't let anybody else win, apparently, right, dude? He's got trophies and championships like nuts, man.
Yeah, and could be adding to more. You know, we mentioned the 9-time red, white, and blue, 6-time Fox River Racing Club champion there in the figure 8s, looking for 7 this year. It's looking pretty good. I think he's up 60 to 70 some points, so it's looking pretty good there to win his 7th with his uncle Danny sharing the ride too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, a whole family of racers there, man, and they're all having fun doing it.
Yeah, what a family. You know, part of the Graciani family, LaRock family. You know, his stepdad Chris LaRock. I remember watching him going around as a late model in the 37 there, competing. So yeah, he's fully in the racing circle there, that's for sure.
But those Outlaws, man, they throw like 35, 40 cars on there, and it's just amazing. And yeah, I could imagine 3 hours. I was going to ask him that, like, weren't you kind of drained after doing something like that? You know, and yeah, they practically got to pick them out of the car. You know, that's just got to take so much concentration to do that, man. It's just crazy. But to go down there and win that's amazing, dude.
Yeah. That big win in Ohio there. He did really, really well in that 3 hour that everyone's seen the videos of where they're left, right, like you said, you know, turning like that. It is wild to even see clips of it.
There's no stopping at the X. You just got to figure the timing out. And yeah, if them drivers get upset at each other if somebody messes up, because it's all timing, and it just seems like, you know, it just it's amazing when you watch it. Just two go this way, that way, this way, and they go and they go and they go, and it's just an amazing race to watch, man.
If he gets back into it, I'm gonna make a point to go.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Yep, I'm fully into that.
So, all right, put her on the checklist.
Yeah, it's on there, man.
All right.
Well, let's transition and talk about some more racing that happened here on the short track scene. Starting at Grundy with the Midwest Truck Series, Brandon Reichenberger took home the win down there. Hammond and Warner were the top 3. Good to see a nice run out of Austin Warner there, getting top 3, that young rookie that's in the Bryce Miller Motorsports truck. So that was pretty cool to see. In addition to that, Brandon also swept the quarter-mile late model day at Norway the previous day, so Friday, and he finished above his dad and Brayson there. So he had a pretty good weekend, man.
Not a bad weekend there, man. So congrats there.
Going back to Grundy for the Midwest Tour race, Ty Fredrickson won that over Baker and Summers. So he took home the Wayne Carter Classic, his first Midwest Tour win there.
Yeah, we've been to that place, man. Remember that, man? They
Love
packed
it.
the house down there, and it's quite the bull ring down there at Grundy.
I like that track a lot. It was pretty racy when you and I went down there. It seems like that happens a lot. I remember when you and our friend Guy Bodie, I remember watching your video when you guys were down there, and it was exciting. So that place seems to put on some pretty good racing.
It is. It takes a little bit of an effort to get down there to go to that place, man, but quite the bull ring, man, and I sure do appreciate that place.
Yep. Anything short track wise that you want to talk about in addition to what we just did?
Not too much, man. I wanted to go to Jefferson for the Orange Blossom Special last week, man, and we just couldn't get the weather out of the way, and the first line went through, and it also looked like it was going to clear out, and then the second one just kind of washed everything all out. So weather's been kind of a factor. You don't get a little shower, man. Once you get underneath a cloud, it seems like it wants a dump a whole bunch, and was kind of bummed out. Didn't get to go to Jefferson, man. So we'll catch it next time that comes through there.
Yeah, that was a bummer to see. Also, something that just came to mind. Hey, we got the ARCA Menards Series at Madison coming up here, so that's exciting to have the ARCA Menards Series back up here at Madison.
Absolutely, man. They got the drivers list there, and it looks like a pretty stout field. So that's a good one for a 200 lapper, And Owasso's running as we speak right now to 300 over there, and there was a heck of a lineup that was going on over there. I saw Gabe Summers didn't have a backup motor. Apparently, popped the motor, so then he's getting it all set for the Jim Sauter 200 at the Dells on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Also, IndyCar is at the Milwaukee Mile this weekend. Slinger has their big Alan Kawicki race down there, so there is a ton of racing here in the state of Wisconsin this weekend.
Just like I'm going to do, I'm going to Milwaukee to the Mile and go watch the IndyCars, and then get the heck out of there real quick and fly up to Slinger and go check out that 77-lap super late and a whole bunch more, man. So it's a lot to look forward to on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, let's transition over to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Richmond. Unfortunately, Jack Wood would miss the race because of an injury he suffered at Watkins Glen. He had a pretty hard hit over there, so the team did not field the 91 truck.
Yeah, that was a hard hit, man, and he was feeling that one. So, yep, they didn't refill that one. So, unfortunate for him. He needs to get better, man.
Yep. In stage one, Ty ends up winning that. Stage two, also Ty would win. The big things that happened kind of in stage two there was Boyd got into Fenhouse and they spun. Rhodes pits to try to pick up some valuable points, because remember, this was the last race before the playoffs started, so Rhodes had to pick up as many points over his teammate Garcia as he could. Also, Sutton had an issue, tried to pit and stopped. He kind of brushed the pit wall there. Ty and a few others did pit under that caution, although Ty did not want to pit there.
Yeah, they were talking back and forth, and he actually, Joe Shear talked him into it. So, unfortunate for him, but he got the stage points. That's what he was looking forward to.
Yeah. In the third stage there, Crafton got into some fluid that was on the track, and unfortunately, as he did that, Ty was to his outside. They would spin and get into the wall. Ty was leading at that point and looking pretty good. In addition to that, Crafton and others were on fresh tires due to pitting, but Crafton unfortunately got into that fluid and up into the track, up the track into Ty with 51 to go.
My wife told me to simmer down because I absolutely like, what are you doing? And didn't realize them because there was a puff of smoke that was there, and sure enough, all of a sudden there was a whole bunch of fluid on the track. And lately it seems like NASCAR doesn't see that until there's an incident, and then finally they make a call. So unfortunate, but at least Majeski was far enough in the corner where he actually could save it and keep it off the wall. But Crafton backed her into the wall pretty hard, man. Had heavy damage in the backside.
He did, yeah. And then you thought, well, maybe it won't be terrible for Ty because he was still in second there and would put on some fresh tires. So Another interesting strategy point was Riggs stopped for his last set of tires at this caution too, so Sammy Smith would be the only one with an extra set, and that was at 35 to go when that all shut down.
Yeah, it was, if you got down to the last 20 laps and you had a set of tires, man, I mean, there was a big fall off on them tires, man. So they were like gold, if you could get fresh tires and make them go.
That would have been huge, yeah. At the end of the day, it would be Corey Heim winning once again over Ty, Riggs, Sammy Smith, LaJoy, Ruggiero, Garcia, Rhodes, Chandler Smith, Honeycutt. Fastest lap would go to Hemrick, 23.465 seconds, which equals 115.065 miles per hour. The playoffs kind of shook out like this now. So Garcia got in over Rhodes, so Rhodes was the first one out. So it's Heim plus 62, Riggs plus 23, Chandler Smith plus 16, Hemrick plus 8, Ankrum plus 7, Ty plus 7, Enfinger plus 4, Caruth plus 2. Honeycutt is -2 and Garcia is -3. So besides Heim, it is pretty tight there.
It is. So, but, you almost pretty much can say that Heim is going to get by this round here. But all you got to do is win, baby. That's all you got to do. And you'll advance yourself. So that's what the whole idea is, to try to win here.
Yep. They got a week off before heading to Darlington there, so they're not going to be at Daytona this weekend.
Nope. So they get a week off to get ready for the big playoff push.
Yep. The Cup Series then at Richmond. Early on, Gibbs was speeding on his green flag stop. Elliott and Priest would stay out the whole stage so that they would have an extra set of tires later. You just talked about how they were gold. They saw that as well and were trying to set themselves up for some success. Reddick would win the stage, although Elliott, not only did he stay out the whole stage, but he got a penalty. Hamlin was speeding, and Elmendinger also got a penalty under these stops.
Yeah, it's bad enough you get a penalty there, but it's at least the first stage, so you might be able to fight your way back into it. So fortunate that the penalty came out there, but man, there was a bunch of strategy trying to save tires there on the first stage.
Yeah. In the second stage, Busch was speeding on his green flag stop. Hamlin had another long stop, and then SVG and Stenhouse would make contact on pit road. Suarez and Gibbs would make contact right as Reddick was going by them. Gibbs went up the track into Reddick, and Reddick would spin and hit the wall. He was dominant at this point, but wasn't the leader because it was during that pit cycle. So that would hamper Reddick's day. Larson didn't pit at that point yet, so he was going to gain some valuable track position, but not so good for Reddick, who was looking to have a dominant day there.
Yeah, it sure looked good, and then all of a sudden spun around and he caught that left front tire in the wall like that and just knocked it out of there. And so, unfortunate for him, man, he lost 2 laps and never got it back the rest of the day.
Yeah. Ware would spin after contact being 3 wide. Busch and Chastain would make some contact on the back stretch. Keselowski also made some contact with Chastain while that whole thing was shaking out. It looked like they were going to wreck there as well. But then Busch and Briscoe made some contact, and Briscoe would spin. Big wreck happens. Busch, Keselowski, Briscoe, Hamlin, Haley, Chastain, Ty Dillon, Gilliland, Custer, Jones all involved. And then on top of it, when the wreck was kind of ending there, Busch didn't know that Elliott was to his inside and made contact with his right rear end. Elliott went hard into the wall and also clipped Byron. Wowzers.
Yeah, 12 cars involved there, man. Yeah, I think Elliott thought, hey, I got through there, and then all of a sudden Kyle Busch didn't know he was there, and he clipped him, and boy, head on. I mean, Elliott definitely knew that was the end of his day when he nosed her head onto the wall. So unfortunate for him. Wrong place, wrong time, man.
And really unfortunate because he had finished all but 1 lap this season. So he almost went a full regular season with finishing all the laps except for 1 until that incident. So that was super unfortunate for him.
Yeah, and that really messed up Byron too, man. And that, it scuffed up the front end, and that affected him too.
Yeah. Wallace would win the stage. Bell had a backup to his pit stall after realizing a tire wasn't tight there as well.
Yeah, and they called him, and then all of a sudden he looked like he went forward, and they were yelling at him, back up, back up, back up, And unfortunate for him, man. So he lost all his track position right there.
Yeah. Hocevar would miss pit road one lap. He would have to come in the next lap there, and then Wallace would lose a wheel in the pits. It eventually would hit the rear of his car and stop in Briscoe's pit while he was stopping there to fix the issue. Then Bell had a commitment line violation. Gibbs would be on fire while he's racing and says that he lost brakes, but he keeps racing. He eventually came on and said he was blowing up, but he would last the whole race. So it was kind of an interesting part of the race here.
Still, that interesting part was when that tire came off Wallace, and they told him, stop right here, stop, and then the tire hit the bumper. Now, what's the luck of that where that tire decided to lay down right there, And then they go over there and get that tire. They come around and swung around, and it just so happened that once again he was in somebody else's pit, and you just take the penalty that way and carry on. But that's still, even though Wallace led the most laps all day, that definitely messed up his day right there.
Well, and the thing was, while it was going down, the tire was going pit road, he kind of would swerve at it. So I think he was prepared that if that tire kind of went in a different direction, he was going to stop so he could kind of direct it to where he needed to be. Because if you watched it, it was like he would stop and then swerve and then stop and then swerve. And eventually he stopped. And I thought, well, now he stopped. It almost missed the car, but he did manage to get it to stop there.
Talk about lucky, though. Normally the tire would take off and end up against the wall, and then a caution would come out. That'd even screw him over more, But for some reason, that tire just decided, like, I'm going to stop right there. Just like, well, that is lucky right there. And then he went over there and grabbed that tire and go throw it back on, and on he went. But definitely messed up his day, man. He was on a good run.
Yeah. Yeah, he would get a penalty for, I don't know, improper pitting or something like that for 2 laps. But also, what the heck shot out of under Love's car on the front stretch with 5 to go? Did you notice that? All of a sudden, it looked like there was a bunch of almost like, a couple weeks ago when Eli Schomer spun in the on the backstretch of the quarter mile and took out that big piece of sod. It's looked like one of those shot out under Love's car. Did you notice that at all with 5 to go on the front stretch?
No, I did not see that, man. But what was that? A tire or a bunch of rubber buildup underneath or something like that?
No idea. I thought, oh, here's the caution that Austin Dillon's not going to want. And it never came out. But there was something that came off or under Love's car there with 5 to go. But caution never came. Austin Dillon would get redemption from last year, take the win to get himself into the playoffs this year. He would win over Bowman, Blaney, Logano, Cindric, Larson, Suarez, Berry, Keselowski, Hamlin. William Byron would be named the regular season champion, so that has been wrapped up. So he's getting extra points with that. And then with one race to go before the playoffs start, going into the season finale at Daytona, Hamlin, SVG, Larson, Bell, Byron, Elliott, Blamey, Briscoe, Wallace, Logano, Chastain, Cindric, Berry, Austin Dillon, all in with at least one win, some cases multiple wins. Reddick is plus, I think it's 89.
89, yep.
89, Bowman plus 60, and then Buescher's minus 60, Priest is 94, Busch is 148 back, and Gibbs is 173. So really, Buescher, Priest, Busch, Gibbs, and the rest of the field is must win. If they win, Bowman or Reddick could be in trouble depending on the day that Reddick has.
That was a bummer for Buescher, with Dillon winning, that put him on the wrong side of the fence, and he's far enough out. So now it's a must-win situation. We're at Daytona, man. Anyone can win that race, and even some that are not in just yet, which could actually knock Bowman out of there. So it's going to be worth watching down at Daytona for the 400.
It is, yeah. And I forgot to mention the fastest lap at Richmond did go to Bubba Wallace, 22.961 seconds, which equals 117.591 miles per hour. As we mentioned, they're going into Daytona. Why don't we make our picks here, Mark, quick before we talk about some news and the TV schedule coming up here. So I'll pull that up quickly here. So the Xfinity race at Daytona, the previous winner. It was, I'll pull it up here. Sorry. Ryan Truex. So Ryan Truex is the defending winner for the Xfinity Series. And I get to go first. And I am going to take someone. I think I surprised you with this pick. I was going to take Austin Hill all along. And I'm going to play a little bit of strategy because you can't take Austin Hill because you've used him 3 times. So I decided to go with the guy that I thought you were going to take, and I took Jesse Love.
And you figured that out just very institutionally there, buddy. And so I called you a name and moved on. So, because all of a sudden I thought, you're not taking Austin Hill because I can't. And that would have been my pick. But you know what? I know somebody else that runs the restrictor plate races really well. And I'm going to throw you some Sanchez, man. We're going to throw a Sanchez at you in the 48, and we'll see where it goes from there for the truck race or for the Xfinity race on Friday night.
That's your first time using Sanchez. I got a 5th place finish out of him at Atlanta earlier this year. So that's I think that was a pretty good pick by you too.
And I'm kind of shot from the hip right there too, man. All of a sudden, just like really, all of a sudden, and I don't have my home computer in front of me, so I'm just like, all right, I got to go take a look at this list. And Almirola's there, and I looked at that, and I just like, that's a pretty good pick. But I could actually see myself using him a little bit further down the line. So I'm happy with my Sanchez pick. I'll take that.
Yeah. The defending winner in the Cup Series there at the regular season finale, which you and I were covering the Truck Series race at the Milwaukee Mile as media members last year. And we went to an establishment to watch the race. And I remember you and I were so pumped up at this race and the race ending and all that. Harrison Burton got his first win in the Cup Series, the 100th for the Wood brothers. We walked out there kind of just like giggling to each other like, hey, that was pretty cool that we got to witness that. Plus, we got the trucks at the Milwaukee Mile the next day to go cover, so we were pretty happy with that weekend. But anyway, long story short, he's the defending winner, Harrison Burton is. I'm going to take the guy I thought of first. I'm going to take Kyle Busch, and this is the reason why. He super speedways are a track that he can certainly get it done. RCR has shown some speed there with Kyle Busch over the last year or two. I think because his teammate won, that's going to really spark something in him to go after it really hard this week. He doesn't need any extra things. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I just think that might be something that happens there. I did think about Brad Keselowski or Ryan Preece, and I think Ryan Preece would be a good story to say, hey, I flipped the last 2 times I was at this track. It was not any fun, and now I've captured the win to go into the playoffs. So I did think about those 2, but I settled on Kyle Busch.
Preece, that's got to be in the back of his mind, man. I mean, he's had 2 horrendous wrecks there. Crazy stuff. But hey, yeah, I always see either a Penske car or Keselowski always up front, and Keselowski has found some speed lately, man. And, he might be able to sneak in here. He's had such tough luck, and maybe he can pull it off and find some speed. Him or his teammate Buescher should be quite up front this weekend. But I'll take Keselowski for the win on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think Busch and Keselowski were my first in line, and then I settled on Busch. I think I have Brad Keselowski. No, I probably have Austin Dillon in your pool, which would be interesting. But Preece, did you see? It's kind of funny. I don't think you probably saw this based on your comments about that, but he has a special helmet for this weekend. Ryan Preece does, and it looks very similar to Top Gun helmet. And it's like if he had a nickname, he said his name would be Air Preece. So yeah, he's saying it's in the back of his head. He's not shying away from it, that's for sure.
Man, that was one wreck last year, man. It's just like that's still a head shaker. How thankful it is to walk away from something like that. We haven't seen a car go flying like that for many, many years, and the dirt and the sand and twisting and turning, and That was just one gruesome wreck, but yeah, he's taking it with good stride, man. He probably would really celebrate if he can conquer that place. But and it has found a lot of speed lately, man. He's right there on the edge, man. But he's got to pull off a win to get in now.
Yeah. All right, let's get through some news and TV schedule and end this thing, man. We talked about Donnie Schatz and Tony Stewart going separate ways this past podcast. Well, Donnie Schatz agreed initially to join Big Game Motorsports for the next 7 World of Outlaw races, but that has changed. He actually had to go with a different team because they didn't have enough cars after running at the same track over in Ogilvie, Minnesota. So Donnie Schatz has actually joined his 3rd team of the season.
Oh, but he's been doing this a long time, man. So he should be able to figure this out to finish the season off.
It's just interesting that he was with Tony Stewart for that long, and now he has to join his 3rd team here.
Yeah, but that's how the cards got dealt out right there. That's what he's got.
Yeah. All right. Meyer-Shank Racing has confirmed that Marcus Armstrong will continue to be with the team in 2026. So some continuity there for Meyer-Shank Racing and Marcus Armstrong.
Okay, so they're all set for 26.
Nice Motorsports announces the sale of majority ownership. Josh Morris, the CEO of DQS Solutions and Staffing, along with Greg Fowler, the CEO of JF Electric, and family have become the majority owners of the team. Cody Ifa will be president and CEO of Nice Motorsports, which will continue to operate under the Nice name. Phil Gould will be the director of competition.
Phil Gould, yeah, there's a name that's been around for sure, man. Yeah, Nice has been doing all kinds of things this way and that way, man. They're trying to figure out which way to go. So a lot of moving parts in the Nice organization right now.
And just a side note, Lunstra Motorsports, I might be pronouncing that wrong, is the one that Donnie Schatz is going to now. But anyway, continuing on here, some surprising news that kind of dropped, interesting timing, I should say. Matt Crafton is going to retire from full-time racing after this season. Ty Majeski will move into the number 88 Menards truck next year. So it has been confirmed that it will be Menards still, and it'll be the 88, and Ty Majeski will be joining that ride.
A lot of fans in Wisconsin always thought, what a combination. Wouldn't that be great if a Wisconsin Menards, can get a Wisconsin driver, Majeski? And, man, we've gone full circle, man. And if this ain't going to happen, it's going to happen. And, it's going to see this 88 get a shot in the arm here, and we'll see that 98 truck is available. They're all the same. They just have different paint colors and numbers. But it'll be interesting to see who takes that open seat. So congrats to Ty Majeski on his birthday, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
That this got announced. So congrats there, man. When we talked to him off camera in Kaukauna, and he said, yeah, there's something in the works, and we knew there was something that was out there. He didn't say nothing to us about it, and bingo, all of a sudden there it is. I just like, wow, that's pretty big news right there.
That was big news, and yeah, we've when he started his NASCAR career, like, wouldn't it be great if a Wisconsin company, Menards, gosh, I had the other one sitting there. There's another one. I'll think of it later. But there was like 2 or 3 wouldn't it be great if they were on his car? And sure enough, now, like you said, full circle Menards will be a part of his team there. I'll get into the schedule here shortly because there was some stuff I want to talk with the truck series, but we'll do it all at once here. Josh Williams has gained 4 races in the Xfinity Series with Alpha Prime.
Okay. So, yeah, so he got kicked out of the right in the 11, so he's still relevant and still bouncing around and getting into a seat there.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series will become the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starting next year.
Hey, if you watch Kenny Wallace, he keeps every day he sings the tune on there. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ow! He goes, and it's quite a daily kind of thing. But wow, O'Reilly's, huh? So I guess gonna have to support them. I seen one when I was in town over here at Racine yesterday, and I looked across and go, "Hey, there's O'Reilly's over there," So maybe I'll have to go over there and get myself a hat or something one of these days.
I've been down there. There's one not too far from my house there, so that's for sure. Casey Mears is going to race the number 66 Cup car at Daytona with SI Yachts as the sponsor.
So yeah, Casey Mears is still around, man. He's still gonna have a wheel in his hand.
There's been some changes over at Trackhouse Racing. Tony Lunders, the chief operating officer, and Gary Putman, the director of shop floor operations, have been released from the team. Todd Meredith, who was hired in July as president of racing operations, will take over as COO.
Okay, so it's moving parts right there, man.
They're going through a lot of change. Remember, recently Pitbull got out of there. There's been some shakeups. The racing for the teams hasn't been the greatest. Chastain finally picked up that Coke 600 win. But before that, it was looking a little rough. And up until that point, with all these changes, you kind of wondered what was going on with them.
Yeah, so yeah, they haven't been performing up to par, man. So yeah, there's changes being made on that team right there.
Yeah, although Shane Van Gisbergen, he's been dominating the road courses. Chastain got the Coke 600 win. Daniel Suarez has actually had a few good runs here late too, with him moving on. So yeah, we'll see what happens with these changes. But WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Rey Mysterio will give the command to start engines for the Cup race Saturday night at Daytona. LSU basketball player and musician Flau'jae Johnson will wave the green flag.
So he'll have his mask on, right? So we still won't be able to look at him. So I'm sure he'll have his mask on, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yep.
You're gonna play it out.
All right. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the schedule for 2026 has officially been released, and I just want to talk about the major changes in each of the series. So the major changes in the Truck Series is the street course of St. Petersburg. They'll be racing on in conjunction with IndyCar, so that will become a big weekend. They're going to go to Dover and San Diego, which is new for them. They replaced Vegas, the spring Martinsville race, and Pocono. Darlington has moved to the spring, Kansas has moved to the fall, and Homestead will be the finale. So those are the big changes in the schedule for the Truck Series.
Yep, they all got moved around. Saw New Hampshire, that's there. So okay, so New Hampshire will have their show, and then we'll have them back in Milwaukee next year. That's my prediction. Possibly, we'll see how that works. But otherwise, yeah, that schedule's been moved around, a little bit here or there. Street course and a little road course racing going on in the Truck Series.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully in 2027 we can get the trucks back to Milwaukee. That would be great. Xfinity schedule changes or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series changes.
Get used to it, buddy.
I was going to do that on purpose to go both ways here, but San Diego, Chicagoland, and the second Darlington race will be new for them. They've replaced Portland, Mexico City, Chicago street course. Kansas fall moves to the spring for them, and Homestead moves to the finale as well.
Yeah, because that flipped with Phoenix. So Phoenix and Homestead flipped each other around. So that makes Homestead the final race, championship race.
Mm-hmm. Cup schedule major changes. San Diego and Chicagoland are new. They replace Mexico City and Chicago street course. Dover All-Star race will be in May now. So the All-Star race will move to Dover there. North Wilkesboro will have a points race in July. Watkins Glen is going to be on Mother's Day weekend. Phoenix is now the first race of the semifinal round, and Homestead will be the championship race. I should also note that Ben Kennedy has said not to take the playoff listing and round designations on the announcement as a confirmation that the playoff format will not change. So there is a chance that the playoff format will change, but those are the big changes as of now.
Yep, that's a moving target right now. We'll see what they're going to come up with there. They're talking about a big change for the championship and around what they're going to do about that. So we'll have to sit back and see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so TV schedule coming up for this weekend. If you can, please get out and support IndyCar Series at Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Mile is so special to us. Get on down there, support that. Mark, I know you just announced you'll be down there. It's possible that I'll be down there Sundays. Challenging, but it's a big event, and we need to get that place off the ground. So support in any way you can. This is the TV schedule. If you can't get down there, what it looks like. Saturday, 8 o'clock on FS2 is IndyCar practice. 10 o'clock on FS1 is Indy Next practice. 1 o'clock on FS1 is IndyCar qualifying. 2:30 on FS2 is Indy Next qualifying. 3:30 on FS2 is IndyCar practice. It'll be in the 70s with 10% chance. Sunday then, 10:35 on FS1, the Indy Next race, 90 laps there. 1 o'clock on Fox's pre-race. 1:20 on Fox is the IndyCar race, 250 laps down there in the 60s with 10% chance. Then at Daytona for the NASCAR weekend, Friday at 2 o'clock on the CW app, Xfinity qualifying. 4:05 on True TV is Cup qualifying. 6 o'clock on CW is pre-race. 6:30 on CW is the Xfinity race, stages of 30, 30, and 40. In the 80s, 70% chance of moisture during the day, 50% chance at night. So we'll see how that goes Friday. 6 o'clock on NBC is pre-race. 6:30 on NBC is the Cup race, stages of 35, 60, and 65. In the 80s again, 70% chance again during the day, 40% chance at night. So we'll see what happens with the weather down in Daytona.
It's your typical Florida kind of thing, man. 20 miles away, it could be dumping, and then you're clear right there. That's the way it works in Florida. So give us we'll be all right, and we'll be all right down there in Florida there, Lauren.
Hey, we'll be all right. So
all right, we're going to be all right for this weekend for down there.
Yep. And just to recap, the racing up here, Pierce Manufacturing Night tomorrow at Wisconsin International Raceway with the Fox River Racing Club. The second to last week, the penultimate week here. So only one more week after tomorrow. It's also High Vis Night, where they're recognizing construction and trade workers. Don't forget that if you wear your high visibility clothing, you'll be eligible to win a $250 Fleet Farm gift card. And the first 100 kids through the gate will receive a free high visibility shirt, courtesy of Bolt Construction. And the first 100 kids also get a backpack filled with school supplies. So can't beat that. Come on out tomorrow for racing. Again, tickets just $15 for adults. Ages 12 and younger are free. Gates open at 5, qualifying 5:40, racing at 6:30. Also, Friday down at Madison International Speedway. Get down there for the ARCA Menards Series race. Just an awesome event down there. Glad to have them back in the state. Make sure you support that so they keep coming back up here to the north and in Wisconsin. We talked about IndyCar Sunday at the Milwaukee Mile. Go out and support that. The Alan Kawicki race is also at Slinger Super Speedway, so go on there after the Milwaukee Mile like Mark's doing. Get out, support all your local short tracks, dirt tracks, everything. Support everything that's here in the state of Wisconsin, because you don't know what you have until it's gone, and we need to support everything that we got up here. So it's a great week of racing starting tomorrow night at WIR. Hope to see you all there. Hope to see you all somewhere else this weekend. Enjoy it. We appreciate the sport. Thank you, Tim, with the Corp Racing. Ben and Carrie with Valley Gasket for all your support. Everyone else for your support. Thanks to Craig VandeWettering for coming on as well. That was awesome. So just appreciate you all. And hey, we'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you at the track tomorrow night, man.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.